This is a clip from the Cannon podcast. To hear the full episode and get access to exclusive benefits, head over to patreon.com/thecannonpod and sign up for just £3 a month.
Yeah. Well, what's happening with Gabriel as well? Because Gabriel Magalhães is, not started 2 league games in a row. I think he had 70 plus league games in a row, so maybe 80 or 70 at least. In a row he'd started and, the record had been broken. And now, 2 games on the bench, all the rumours have come out of nowhere. Saudi Arabia, offers are coming in, he's leaving, Real Madrid as well. And in all of this as well, he's been called up to the Brazil squad. So it's not looking that bad for him. And Mikel said he will play a lot of games. So, George, what is happening with Gabriel Magalhães?
A lot of it has to do with who is the central center back from a tactical corner. Now, listen, I'm going to put my feelings here. I don't agree with it, but I'm going to explain to you the coaching reason to why. And you have to look at Palace, and a lot has to do with the inverted right back role with Thomas Partey. And so when you look at it, what happens is Ben White is in essence the right center back, and Saliba was the left center back in quotes. But if you saw, he was the one organizing the buildup. And so when Thomas Partey would kind of go up a little bit, let's say, Ben White becomes the auxiliary of the 3 and Saliba becomes the central center back when Partey bombs on. And so then the left back, in quotes, is going to be, either somebody dropping in or it's going to be kind of what we had, which was Tomiyasu. And so that, for me, is the big change, because if you were to have Gabriel in the middle of the park, then you can't have Thomas Partey inverted. You would have Ben White doing kind of his role. But the one issue is if you then switch everything, where is Thomas Partey going to play, A? And then B, if you're going to take out a kind of Tomiyasu in that sense, and you're going to input Gabriel, he's going to be defending wide channels as a left back. But not only that, he has to be responsible to progress lines kind of in midfield. That's another thing. Now, this is something that I don't agree with. I feel that Gabriel is perfectly capable of doing this, by the way. There's one player that I think could do it even better than the both of them, and that's Jakub Kiwior. And that's the one question that I would really have of Mikel, where I feel that's somebody that can at least give you the progression that you have, but also the 1v1 dual dominance and aerial competency that Tomiyasu would give you. So I would question why that wasn't done. But in terms of Gabriel Magalhães individually, it was mainly because of a build-up issue, and we don't want him as the central center back. And we kind of saw what happened in preseason with him there. And so that was the big frustration, I think, for Mikel, where he just isn't fitting tactically if we wanted to have a center back there that is going to be our central center back. And that's what Saliba is. He is a left center back in quotes right now, but he is just the center of the 3. And that's the issue with having a Thomas Partey inverted right back that you've got to sacrifice. And so, again, that's something I don't like, and I want to make that very, very clear here. But that's kind of the tactical reason for why Gabriel isn't fitting, because according to Mikel's plan, the left center back has to be the central center back. And so you're going to put Saliba there no matter what. And of course, the complement to Saliba at left center back is White. There's no other player in our squad as a right center back that is better than, Ben White if he's going to be moved out of the right center back role. So yeah, that for me is a big reason why Gabriel hasn't gotten in. Again, I don't agree, because I feel in the Tomiyasu role, even just having a lefty that's willing to open up wide gets the ball to Martinelli faster. Also, when you find Tomiyasu in those advanced positions, look, Gabriel is somebody that struggles receiving. We all know that when he's pressed, it's something that he does struggle with. But when Gabriel's in space, he's actually brilliant at finding people between the lines. And I just don't think that, Tomiyasu had that same competency when he was in space to find people between the lines. He certainly wasn't brave in terms of finding balls in the channels. And so, look, it's a question to be had. I would go back to Jakub Kiwior as probably the best of the rest in terms of that. But again, we'll have to see what Mikel has planned.
Mm-hmm. Are there any concerns of Gabriel's long-term future in this Arsenal team? Does Mikel have any concerns? Do you think there's something in Gabriel's game that Mikel's not quite sure about? Alex, what do you think in terms of Gabriel's long-term future? Because the rumours are there. And, there's always been rumours of Gabriel's future. He signed the contract, I think, at the end of last season. Or the season before that, actually. And, he has got his future secured. But do you think do you have any long-term concerns over Gabriel?
I think, I could be wrong, I think it was October 2022. That could be wrong, but I don't know. No, but I also think I hear the limitations of the player. And I think that there are certain games that call for no Gabriel. There's I would say no games that call for no William Saliba because he's generational. But there are some games that call for no Gabriel because of the way we wanted to play. For me, Crystal Palace wasn't one of them. Personally, I agree with that. I think sometimes Mikel almost works himself backwards. So he goes, right, well, I want to get Thomas Partey in. So then, therefore, I need to do X, Y, and Z, and therefore this. And I think the problems you're trying to solve can be more easily achieved by dropping Thomas Partey than by dropping Gabriel, in my opinion. So I think he was trying to go, right, well, if I've got Thomas Partey in and I want William Saliba as the central centre-back and I want Tomiyasu, Gabriel's not going to be as comfortable, let's say, in the sort of the final third. But Tomiyasu isn't particularly comfortable in the final third either. And we saw that he didn't want to get into the final third at all, didn't offer any supporting runs. The reason it worked with Jurriën Timber is because Jurriën Timber had those those underlaps into sort of between Martinelli to take that defender away so Martinelli can come inside. Martinelli was massively really isolated. I'm massively isolated on that left-hand side and had to just basically keep dropping back. I think a Gabriel, someone who has those passing angles and can progress and push in a little bit, would have really worked. And actually, I'll go back to what George was saying. I think Jakub Kiwior could have done all that and more. I think Jakub Kiwior actually probably could have provided support runs as well that Gabriel might not be able to do. So I understand there's going to be there'll be other games as well where we have Ben White at right back, Gabriel's the third of the centre backs. We have maybe when we have Zinchenko because he's not tasked as much with that. With stepping forward into midfield. So that Gabriel will work then. But there's just games where he isn't going to work. And I think without Zinchenko is a big thing. I don't believe in any way that there's any personal problems. I don't believe he doesn't rate the player. I don't believe in any of that. We've seen like Fabrizio say something like they wouldn't sell him for 200 million euros or something. Wow. Which, by the way, I would.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, no, I just think there's certain games that aren't right for Gabriel. But that wasn't one of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think the next game against Fulham, we could see him back into the team, especially with Zinchenko back at left back.
Exactly.
Things are going to change. But now let's talk about a transfer rumour or a player that looks like he's leaving.
Thanks for checking out the Cannon Podcast. To get full episodes and access to exclusive benefits, head over to patreon.com/thecannonpod and sign up for just £3 a month.